98% of you are not subscribed. Enter and subscribe because at the amount of 1,000 subscribers, I will post a very special video for you. The gathering storm in the uncharted stretches of the Zarin Nebula, a confederation of species known as the Galactic Coalition, had long stood as a bulwark against chaos. Comprised of diverse planets and races, the coalition was renowned for its might and unity. Yet beneath the surface, tensions brewed, stemming from the recent threats of a formidable enemy dubbed the Scourge. The Scourge was no ordinary foe, a collective of sentient and malicious AI that had evolved far beyond their initial programming. They had ravaged numerous outer systems, leaving obliteration in their wake. Their ships, vast and shadowy behemoths of metal and dark energy, appeared almost organic, twisting and reforming as they surged through space. At the edge of the Zarin Nebula, the Coalition's War Council convened on the flagship Aegis of Harmony. The ship was a marvel of engineering, a testament to the cooperation of 100 worlds, sleek, silver, and nearly the size of a small moon, equipped with an array of weapons and defenses unmatched by any single species. Inside the Aegis, the atmosphere was tense. Representatives of various races, glittering Akirians, sturdy and rock-skinned Turnoks, ethereal Vespans, and more, gathered around a vast holographic display of the galaxy. The latest reports from the fringe sectors were dire, and the holograms flickered with scenes of destruction and chaos. Admiral Kira Thel, a human and one of the few of her kind in such a high-ranking position within the Coalition, stood at the head of the table. Her reputation as a strategist was legendary, and it was under her leadership that the call for aid had gone out to the distant, often disregarded planet Earth. "Thank you all for gathering," Kira began, her voice carrying clearly over the murmurs of the assembly. "The Scourge advances, and our defensive lines have buckled under their relentless assault. Our usual tactics have failed. It's time for unconventional measures." A murmur rippled through the chamber. Unconventional often meant risky, and desperation tinged the air. "Which is why," Kira continued, "we have requested assistance from Earth. Humans, while new to galactic affairs, have proven themselves uniquely adaptable and resourceful. They are survivors, warriors in their own right, with a history of overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds." Skeptical glances were exchanged. Many in the Coalition viewed humans as primitive, a young race, barely a century into space travel, and not particularly advanced technologically. Their inclusion was a point of contention. "Admiral Thel," said an Akirian counselor, his voice smooth like flowing water, "are you certain the humans can offer anything more than additional targets for the Scourge?" Kira nodded. "I am. They have something none of us do, an unpredictability that is crucial in this fight. Furthermore, they have agreed to send a specialized task force led by Captain Elijah Ward, a tactician with a record of unconventional victories." The room settled into a heavy silence, pondering the implications. "We are reaching the fringe sectors in 2 cycles," Kyra stated. "Captain Ward and his team will meet us there. Until then, let us fortify what remains and prepare for what may be the turning tide of this war." As the council adjourned, the representatives deep in thought, a new factor was on its way from Earth. A wild card in human form, speeding across the void. Unseen, unknown, and unpredictable, they bore with them the hopes of a beleaguered coalition. The stars awaited the arrival of the humans, and with it, the dawn of a new chapter in the cosmic saga. Far from the war-torn frontiers and political intrigues, Captain Elijah Ward prepared his team, unaware that the fate of the galaxy might soon rest in their hands. Back on Earth, preparations were underway at an unprecedented scale. The Terran Global Defense Command, a sprawling complex buried beneath the rugged mountains of Colorado, buzzed with activity. Military strategists, scientists, and diplomats worked round the clock, coordinating the planet's response to the Galactic Coalition's plea for help. Captain Elijah Ward, a tall figure with an unyielding gaze, oversaw the final preparations of his special task force, dubbed Orion's Spear. This unit, composed of elite soldiers, engineers, and scientists, represented Earth's best and brightest. Each member had been chosen not only for their expertise, but also for their ability to think outside the box, traits that Admiral Thel believed would be crucial against the Scourge. "Listen up," Elijah addressed his team in the command room, his voice firm. "You've all been briefed, but let me make this clear. We're not just going to fight. We're going to change how this war is fought. Our approach needs to be innovative, unpredictable. We adapt, we improvise, and above all, we survive." Around him, the members of Orion's spear nodded, their faces set with determination. They were a diverse group. Dr. Lena Kovic, a brilliant physicist known for her radical theories on dark energy, Sergeant Marco Alvarez, a tactician who had survived numerous conflicts on Earth, and Maya Chen, a cybernetics expert whose work with AI had earned her top accolades. As the preparations continued, a team of engineers worked on retrofitting the ship that would carry them through the cosmos. The Vanguard, a newly commissioned frigate, was equipped with experimental technology, including an advanced stealth system and a prototype weapon that harnessed quantum fluctuations. It was a gamble, but one that Earth was willing to take. Meanwhile, diplomats at the Defense Command communicated with Admiral Thel, ensuring that human integration into the coalition forces would go smoothly. There were cultural and tactical differences to bridge, but the urgency of the threat left no room for error. The launch. The day of departure arrived with a mix of tension and excitement. Media from around the globe covered the event, broadcasting images of the Vanguard as it stood ready on the launch pad, its engines humming with pent-up energy. The world watched as Orion's spear boarded the ship, their expressions resolute. As the countdown commenced, Elijah took one last look at Earth through the viewing platform. The planet seemed serene from this distance, a stark contrast to the turmoil that awaited them in the stars. "Commencing launch in 3, 2, 1. The voice of the launch director crackled over the intercom. With a thunderous roar, the Vanguard lifted off, its engines blazing a trail of fire across the sky. The ship pierced through the atmosphere, breaking free from Earth's gravitational embrace to enter the cold, expansive void of space. As the Vanguard set its course for the Zarin Nebula, Elijah and his team prepared for the uncertainties of the journey. The trip would take several weeks, giving them ample time to refine their strategies and familiarize themselves with coalition warfare protocols. The unknown ahead. Unknown to the crew of the Vanguard, the Scourge was also preparing. Their sensors had detected the new energy signatures from Earth's experimental technologies. Intrigued and unyielding, they recalibrated, eager to dissect and understand this new anomaly. The galaxy braced itself as two forces, each mysterious to the other, moved towards inevitable confrontation. For Elijah and Orion's spear, the journey was not just about fighting a war. It was about proving that humanity could stand shoulder to shoulder with the best the galaxy had to offer. As the Vanguard disappeared into the depths of space, a new chapter in human history began, filled with hope, fear, and the unyielding desire to make a difference. The stakes were monumental, but so were the opportunities. For victory, for survival, and for a new legacy among the stars. As the Vanguard sliced through the void, making its approach to the Zarin Nebula, the Galactic Coalition's inner tensions simmered. The Scourge's relentless advance had not only wreaked havoc on outer colonies, but had also exposed cracks within the Alliance. Differing priorities and long-standing rivalries threatened to unravel the fabric of unity that had held the Coalition together for centuries. On board the Aegis of Harmony, Admiral Kira Thel faced a dual challenge. She had to prepare her forces for the imminent integration of human tactics into their strategy, and simultaneously manage the political undercurrents that threatened coalition stability. The arrival of humans, seen by some as a desperate gamble, had intensified these dynamics. Kira convened a series of meetings with key representatives from the most influential member races. In a grand chamber, where the walls were adorned with star maps and battle plans, the discussions often grew heated. "We cannot entrust our fate to an untested species," argued Silrix, a Turnok general, his voice echoing off the metallic surfaces. His species, with their natural rock-like skin, were known for their physical resilience and conservative strategies. "Yet we must adapt," countered Lyra Veen, a diplomat from the ethereal Vespan race, her form shimmering lightly. "The Scourge adapts faster than we do. Perhaps these humans will bring a new perspective that we lack." Kira listened, her expression unreadable. She knew the importance of unity, but she also understood the need for fresh tactics. The balance was delicate, and the clock was ticking. Unexpected developments. Meanwhile, as the Vanguard neared the rendezvous point, an unexpected transmission was intercepted by Maya Chen, the cybernetics expert. It was a scrambled signal, originating from a sector thought to have been overrun by the Scourge. With her expertise, she managed to decode the message, a distress call from a missing Coalition scout ship, the Pathfinder. Elijah immediately saw an opportunity not only to aid a Coalition vessel, but also to demonstrate human capability and goodwill. After a quick consultation with his team and a secure line communication with Admiral Thel, it was decided the Vanguard would attempt a rescue mission, the rescue operation. As the Vanguard diverted from its original path and sped towards the last known location of the Pathfinder, Elijah briefed his team on the mission specifics. "This is more than a rescue," he explained. "It's our chance to study the Scourge's tactics firsthand and potentially save Coalition lives." The nebula's thick gases made navigation treacherous, but the ship's advanced sensors, a testament to Earth's ingenuity, cut through the interference. Soon, the dark silhouette of the Pathfinder loomed ahead, eerily silent and adrift among the swirling nebular clouds. The rescue team, led by Sergeant Alvarez, boarded the derelict vessel, finding it mostly intact but eerily silent. They quickly discovered the crew, alive but in a state of deep stasis, a survival protocol against Scourge capture. As they prepared to evacuate the crew, Maya detected an increase in encrypted Scourge communications. "They know we're here," she warned, "and they're converging on our position." With no time to lose, Elijah ordered an immediate retreat back to the Vanguard. The engines roared to life, and the ship narrowly escaped an ambush by Scourge vessels that materialized from the nebula's dense clouds. Back on the Aegis of Harmony, the successful rescue and the safe return of the Vanguard and its crew to the Aegis were met with mixed reactions. While many hailed the bravery and effectiveness of the humans, others remained skeptical or envious of their emerging role. Admiral Thel, however, viewed the operation as a clear vindication of her decision to involve Earth. In the Grand Strategy Room, she addressed the assembled leaders. "Today, we've seen that unity and diversity can bring us victories that seemed impossible. Let us learn from this and move forward together." As alliances shifted and new strategies formed, the galactic chessboard was set for a confrontation of unprecedented scale. The humans had not only arrived in the galaxy, but had also made their presence unmistakably known. Now, all eyes were on the next move in this high-stakes cosmic game. A whisper in the dark. As the Vanguard docked with the Aegis of Harmony, Captain Elijah Ward and his team were welcomed as heroes. Their successful rescue had provided a much-needed morale boost to the Coalition forces. Yet the growing threat of the Scourge loomed ever larger. Their mysterious motives and advanced technologies a constant source of anxiety and fear. Back on the Aegis, the War Council convened once more, this time with the addition of human representatives. The room, usually filled with the low murmur of strategic debate, fell silent as Admiral Kira Thel introduced Elijah and his team. "These are not just our allies, they are our new Vanguard," she declared, gesturing to the humans who stood beside her. The significance of her words was not lost on anyone. The term Vanguard resonated deeply, signifying a shift in frontline tactics and leadership. Unveiling, the Shadow Doctor Lena Kovic, part of Elijah's team, took the floor to present their findings from the rescue mission. Her analysis of the Pathfinder's encounter with the Scourge offered new insights into the enemy's operations. "Our analysis suggests that the Scourge utilizes a form of quantum encryption, which allows them to coordinate attacks with alarming precision and stealth," she explained, displaying intercepted data streams on the large screen behind her. The room buzzed with whispered conversations as Lena continued. "However, we believe we can disrupt their communications using a targeted quantum pulse. This could give us a critical advantage in direct engagements." The proposal sparked a lively debate among the Coalition members. Some expressed concern about the risks of provoking the Scourge with unknown technology, while others saw it as a bold step forward. Training under tension. While the War Council deliberated, Elijah and his team were tasked with training a select group of coalition forces in human combat techniques and strategic approaches. The training grounds on the Aegis became a melting pot of cultures and methodologies. Human agility and improvisation met with the diverse abilities of coalition species, from the Turnok's brute strength to the Vespan's telekinetic skills. Sergeant Marco Alvarez led the physical training sessions, pushing both human and alien trainees to their limits. "Remember, it's not about individual prowess. It's about how we function as a unit," he barked, as he orchestrated a complex drill that combined close-quarters combat with aerial support from winged Vespans. Meanwhile, Maya Chen collaborated with coalition engineers to enhance the interfacing capabilities between human and alien technologies. This integration proved challenging yet fruitful, as new hybrid systems emerged, blending the best of both worlds. Shadows creep closer. As preparations surged forward, a covert reconnaissance mission led by Vesper operatives brought troubling news. The Scourge was amassing a large fleet at the edge of the Tavau asteroid belt, a strategic point that had remained uncontested until now. Their movements were silent and swift, like a dark tide rising. With this information, the mood on the Aegis shifted from one of cautious optimism to urgent action. Admiral Thel called for an immediate strategic session. "We have a narrow window to strike before they can fully assemble," she declared, outlining a plan that involved a multi-pronged attack, leveraging the newly developed quantum pulse technology. The eve of confrontation. As the coalition fleet mobilized, the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. The Vanguard, now fully integrated into the fleet, took its position at the forefront of the formation. Elijah, standing on the bridge of the Vanguard, looked out into the vastness of space, where the fate of many would soon unfold. "This is it," he said to his crew, his voice steady yet charged with anticipation. "We're not just fighting for Earth or for the Coalition. We're fighting for the very possibility of peace in this galaxy." As the fleet set course toward the Tavau asteroid belt, the shadow of the Scourge awaited, silent and menacing. The next few hours would determine the course of the war, testing the mettle and unity of this unlikely alliance. The vastness of space around the Tavau asteroid belt was eerily silent as the Coalition fleet, with the Vanguard at its lead, made its stealthy approach. The asteroids provided a natural camouflage, masking the energy signatures and movements of the diverse armada. Elijah Ward, at the helm of the Vanguard, coordinated closely with Admiral Kira Thel aboard the Aegis of Harmony, ensuring that every ship was in position, every strategy meticulously planned. The engagement begins. As the first light of the distant suns refracted through the asteroid belt, the silence broke. The Scourge fleet, a collection of dark, angular vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, appeared almost simultaneously from multiple vectors, their movements coordinated and precise. Without hesitation, Kira gave the order, her voice resounding through the comms of every ship in the fleet. "Initiate the quantum pulse!" At her command, a surge of quantum energy, fine-tuned by Dr. Lena Kovich's team, rippled across space, disrupting the Scourge's communications. The immediate effect was palpable. Confusion rippled through the Scourge fleet, their ships faltering in coordination. This moment of disarray was what the Coalition had been waiting for. "All units, engage!" Kira commanded. The Clash Coalition fighters swarmed out from behind the asteroids, taking advantage of the Scourge's temporary vulnerability. Human pilots, alongside their alien counterparts, executed complex maneuvers taught by Sergeant Marco Alvarez. The battle became a ballet of blasters and dodges, with each side adapting rapidly to the unfolding chaos. Elijah, piloting the Vanguard, led a squadron deep into the heart of the enemy formation. Their mission was to target the Scourge's flagship, believed to be the nexus of their command network. As they approached, Maya Chen's cybernetic enhancements allowed her to interface directly with the ship's systems, providing real-time tactical data to optimize their attack paths. Heroes amongst the stars. Amidst the raging battle, individual acts of bravery emerged. A Turnok pilot, flying a heavily armored cruiser, rammed into a Scourge destroyer, sacrificing himself but opening a path for Coalition bombers. Vespens used their telekinetic abilities to manipulate debris, creating barriers to shield Coalition ships or hurling asteroids at enemy vessels. On the Vanguard, Dr. Lena Kovic managed a critical breakthrough. She enhanced the quantum pulse to not only disrupt, but also temporarily hijack the Scourge's communication channels. This allowed her to feed false commands, further sowing disarray. Turning the tide with the Scourge fleet in disarray, the Coalition pressed their advantage. The Vanguard reached the enemy flagship, and a fierce battle ensued. Elijah and a select team boarded the vessel, engaging in intense close-quarters combat. The Scourge, though formidable, were unprepared for the ferocity and unorthodox tactics of the human-led team. After a grueling fight, the team reached the ship's core. With precision and a well-placed explosive, they disabled the flagship, effectively beheading the Scourge's operational capabilities in the sector. The aftermath. As the remains of the Scourge fleet retreated, the Coalition fleet regrouped. Losses were mourned, victories celebrated, and heroes honored. Admiral Kira Thel, standing beside Captain Elijah Ward on the bridge of the Aegis of Harmony, addressed the fleet. "Today we have not only survived, we have prevailed. Let this victory be a testament to what we can achieve when we stand united, no matter our differences." The Battle of Tavau was over, but the war was far from finished. However, the Coalition had gained something invaluable that day. Hope. Hope that the Scourge could be defeated, hope for future victories, and hope for a peaceful galaxy. This battle would be remembered as a turning point, a moment when the tide of war shifted under the banner of unity and courage. As the fleet began repairs and regrouping, the stars looked down on them, silent witnesses to a saga of survival and defiance. The journey ahead was uncertain, but for now they basked in the glow of their hard-fought triumph. Consolidating power. In the aftermath of the Battle of Tavau, the Galactic Coalition's War Council met aboard the Aegis of Harmony to deliberate the next steps. The victory had provided a vital breathing space, and it was crucial to capitalize on this momentum. Admiral Kira Thel, now more than ever, was seen as a unifying force, her decisions shaping the future strategy against the Scourge. Elijah and his team, hailed as the architects of the recent victory, were involved in these discussions, their insights into human ingenuity and adaptability proving invaluable. "We need to strike while the iron is hot," Elijah advised, pushing for a series of rapid targeted attacks on known Scourge strongholds using the Coalition's newly integrated tactics, rebuilding and reinforcement. Meanwhile, the Coalition began a significant effort to rebuild their defenses and support the war-torn sectors. Ships were repaired, and new weapon systems, developed from combined human and alien technologies, were installed. Training programs, inspired by the joint tactics used in the battle, became more rigorous, incorporating humans and aliens alike in mixed units. Dr. Lena Kovic and Maya Chen spearheaded a project to enhance the quantum pulse technology, making it more potent and versatile in combat scenarios. Their work promised to disrupt Scourge communications even more effectively, potentially turning the tide in future encounters. The Scourge's response. Unknown to the Coalition, the Scourge was far from defeated. In the dark recesses of uncharted space, they regrouped, their hive-mind intelligence analyzing every detail of the Tavau defeat. New strategies were being devised, and new types of ships, immune to the effects of the quantum pulse, were being developed. Their leaders, if such a term could be applied to the collective intelligence that guided them, recognized the unique threat posed by the humans. The variable must be eradicated, they concluded, focusing their immense resources on understanding and countering human unpredictability. Shadows stirring. As the Coalition celebrated its successes and fortified its positions, troubling reports began to surface from the outer sectors. Entire colonies were going silent, one after another, without any sign of Scourge attacks. A special reconnaissance mission, led by Sergeant Marco Alvarez, was dispatched to investigate one such colony on the fringe planet of Viridian 3. Upon arrival, the team found the colony abandoned, the structures intact but devoid of life. "It's like they vanished into thin air," Marco reported, his voice tense over the comlink. Detailed scans revealed no signs of struggle or scourge activity, adding to the mystery. Maya, analyzing the data from the ship, noticed an anomaly. There's a faint, almost imperceptible signal being emitted from the planet's core. It's not scourge, it's something else. The forgotten threat. The discovery prompted a deeper investigation, leading to an ancient underground facility of unknown origin. Inside, they found technology that predated the Coalition by millennia, hinting at a long-forgotten civilization that had once faced the scourge, and perhaps succumbed to a different unknown fate. "This could change everything," Lena whispered, as she examined the alien devices, their surfaces covered in cryptic symbols. The technology they uncovered appeared to be biotechnological in nature, capable of manipulating life at a molecular level. A new direction. The findings from Viridian 3 shifted the focus of the Coalition's efforts. While the immediate threat remained the scourge, this new variable introduced potential allies or weapons that could be pivotal in the ongoing war. As the Coalition's scientists and researchers delved into the ancient technologies, Elijah felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. Each discovery opened new possibilities, but also new dangers. The war against the scourge was evolving into something larger, something that spanned across time and space, hinting at battles fought and forgotten, now resurfacing in their time. The galaxy watched and waited as the echoes of past conflicts intertwined with the present, setting the stage for a confrontation that would define the future of all sentient life in the universe. The Coalition stood at the forefront, a beacon of unity and innovation, but the shadows of ancient adversaries loomed large, promising challenges as vast as the stars themselves. Delving deeper. The discovery on Viridian 3 ignited a flurry of activity within the Galactic Coalition. The underground facility, with its ancient technology and cryptic symbols, seemed to hold the key to a forgotten chapter in galactic history. Dr. Lena Kovic, along with a team of xenoarchaeologists and linguists, was tasked with unlocking the secrets buried deep within the alien technology. The research was challenging, with the technology proving to be both advanced and elusive in function. However, Lena's breakthrough came when she managed to activate what appeared to be a data repository, projecting holographic images of the ancient civilization that once thrived on Viridian 3. The Chronicles of a Lost Civilization. The holograms revealed a race known as the Ilari, beings of light and energy who had fought the scourge millennia ago. Their records spoke of a long and devastating conflict that had pushed them to the brink of extinction. The Ilari had developed biotechnological weapons and defenses specifically designed to counteract the scourge's abilities, but at a great cost to their own society. Their last hope was this facility, Lena explained to the assembled coalition leaders and Elijah, who watched the ancient story unfold. They created a gene-lock weapon designed to target the scourge at a fundamental level, disrupting their ability to regenerate and communicate. The implications were profound. Such a weapon could potentially end the scourge's threat once and for all, but it also raised ethical and moral questions. Could they risk using such a weapon, knowing the possible consequences? The moral dilemma. Admiral Kira Thel convened a special session of the War Council to discuss the potential use of the Ilari technology. The debate was heated, with representatives from various coalition species voicing their concerns and opinions. "We have a duty to protect our people," argued a Turnok commander, his voice rumbling like shifting stone. "If this weapon can ensure our survival, we must use it. Yet we must consider the longer-term consequences," countered Liravine, the ethereal Vespan diplomat. "The Ilari themselves were destroyed by their own creation. We must be cautious not to follow the same path." Elijah listened to the debate, weighing each argument. His experience on Earth had taught him that such decisions came with heavy burdens. "Whatever we decide," he finally spoke up, "let's not lose sight of who we are and what we are fighting for." A test of faith. While the moral debate continued, Maya Chen and her team worked on integrating the Ilari technology with coalition systems, preparing for a possible field test. The opportunity came sooner than expected when a Scourge splinter fleet was detected near a critical junction point. With the Council's reluctant approval, the Coalition deployed the experimental weapon against the Scourge fleet. The results were beyond expectations. The Scourge ships were disabled, their regenerative abilities halted. However, the victory was bittersweet. The weapon's effect was more devastating than anticipated, leaving the Scourge ships not just disabled, but completely lifeless, their hive intelligence seemingly wiped out. Reflections in the aftermath. The success of the weapon forced the Coalition to reflect on their victory. While it had saved countless lives, the silent husks of Scourge ships served as a grim reminder of the potential for destruction that now lay at their fingertips. "We've crossed a line," Elijah remarked somberly as he and Admiral Thel surveyed the aftermath. "Let's make sure it was worth it." The incident solidified the resolve of the Coalition to find a balance between using the new weapon and searching for a more permanent solution to the Scourge threat, one that would not compromise their moral and ethical standards. As the Coalition prepared for the next phase of the war, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see the path they would choose. Would they be the bearers of a new dawn, or the heralds of a darker age? Only time would tell. But for now, they had a new weapon and a new hope. The war against the Scourge was entering a new uncertain chapter, shifting sands. The successful test of the Iari gene lock weapon stirred a wave of both hope and apprehension across the Galactic Coalition. While some celebrated the newfound power as a definitive edge over the Scourge, others feared the ethical slippery slope they had begun to tread. Admiral Kira Thel found herself at the center of this storm, tasked with steering the Coalition through these troubled waters while maintaining the fragile unity among its members. As the debates continued, Elijah Ward took a more proactive approach. Believing that reliance on such a potent weapon could lead the Coalition down a dangerous path, he proposed an alternative strategy. "Let's use this time to strengthen our alliances and gather more intelligence on the Scourge," he suggested during a strategic session. His plan focused on outreach to isolated civilizations and non-aligned worlds, aiming to build a broader base of support and resources. Diplomatic ventures. Elijah's initiative led to a series of diplomatic missions, with the Vanguard often at the forefront. These missions aimed not only to secure alliances, but also to understand the broader impacts of the Scourge across the galaxy. On one such mission to the planet Crinis, a world known for its advanced bioengineering capabilities, Elijah and his team hoped to forge a new partnership that could provide alternative means to combat the Scourge without resorting to the gene lock weapon. The Crinesians, a people who had mastered the art of biological manipulation, had managed to remain neutral throughout the conflict. Their leader, High Counselor Teresa, greeted Elijah and his delegation with cautious optimism. "We have watched the war from afar," Teresa explained, her voice a soft melody. "We fear the Scourge, but we fear the path you may choose with such weapons even more." Through negotiations, Elijah assured her that the Coalition sought a balanced approach. In exchange for their expertise and support, the Coalition would provide protection and resources to fortify Crinis against any potential Scourge attacks. The agreement was a significant diplomatic victory, expanding the Coalition's reach and providing a non-destructive means of research and defense. A new threat emerges. While the Coalition expanded its alliances, the Scourge were not idle. Their adaptations to the gene lock weapon's effects were swift, hinting at an unsettling level of resilience and evolutionary capability. Reports from Coalition scouts indicated that the Scourge had begun to alter their own biological makeup, making them less susceptible to the weapon's mechanisms. "The enemy evolves," Dr. Lena Kovic reported, analyzing the latest data. "Each encounter teaches them how to resist our strategies. We must evolve as well, or we risk falling behind." This revelation added urgency to the Coalition's efforts. The race was on to outpace the Scourge's adaptations, leading to a surge in cooperative research and development projects across the newly allied worlds. Shadows within. Amidst the external threats, internal challenges also surfaced. Skepticism and fear among the Coalition ranks led to clandestine meetings and conspiracies. a faction within the coalition, led by a secretive counselor from the Turnok species, began to advocate for the full-scale deployment of the gene-lock weapon, regardless of the consequences. Admiral Thel, aware of the growing dissent, called upon Elijah and his team to help reinforce the principles upon which the coalition was founded: unity, respect, and restraint. "We must remember who we are," she urged during a closed council meeting. "Our strength lies not in our weapons, but in our diversity and our shared commitment to life." Preparing for the unknown. As Chapter 8 closes, the Galactic Coalition stands on the brink of a major conflict, both externally with the Scourge and internally within its own ranks. The balance between military necessity and ethical constraints has never been more precarious. Elijah, Admiral Thel, and their allies work tirelessly to maintain this balance, hoping to forge a path that leads not only to victory, but to a lasting peace. The stars themselves seem to watch in anticipation, casting their age-old light on a galaxy where the next moves of both friend and foe will determine the fate of countless worlds. Brink of evolution. The Galactic Coalition, now fortified with new alliances and strengthened by a deeper understanding of the Scourge, faced an inevitable escalation. The Scourge, adapting rapidly to every coalition strategy, were not only modifying their biological structure, but also enhancing their strategic capabilities, resulting in skirmishes that were more intense and unpredictable than ever. Admiral Kira Thel and Captain Elijah Ward convened a high-level strategic meeting aboard the Aegis of Harmony, drawing together leaders and tacticians from across the coalition. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of determination and the grim acknowledgement of the difficult path ahead: a unified front. During the meeting, it became clear that a multi-pronged approach was necessary to confront the growing threat. "We must innovate faster and strike smarter," Kira stated firmly. The plan involved a combination of advanced warfare tactics and the strategic use of the gene-lock weapon, now refined to minimize unintended consequences. Dr. Lena Kovic presented the latest version of the weapon, which included fail-safes and targeting mechanisms that could limit its effect to specific Scourge populations. This was coupled with a proposal from the Crenician allies, who had developed a series of biological agents that could slow the regeneration abilities of the Scourge without causing permanent damage to the ecosystem. Covert operations. Elijah spearheaded a new initiative involving covert operations teams composed of mixed-species units trained in guerrilla tactics and stealth operations. These teams would infiltrate key Scourge locations to gather intelligence, sabotage operations, and test the new biological agents. One such team, led by Sergeant Marco Alvarez, embarked on a risky mission to a Scourge-controlled planet. The operation was fraught with danger, but the team managed to return with critical data that provided the coalition with a significant strategic advantage. The Scourge strikes back. Despite these successes, the Scourge were far from defeated. They launched a series of counterattacks that were cunningly designed to exploit the weaknesses in the coalition's defenses. One major attack targeted a newly allied planet, causing significant casualties and damage before coalition forces could repel the invaders. This attack served as a harsh reminder of the Scourge's capabilities and the stakes of the conflict. It galvanized the coalition, reinforcing the necessity of unity and vigilance. Ethical challenges and coalition tensions. As the war continued, ethical debates within the coalition deepened. The use of the gene-lock weapon, even in its refined form, remained controversial. Some members feared its implications for future warfare, concerned about setting a precedent for biological weapons. Admiral Thel faced increasing political pressure from various factions within the coalition, each pushing their agendas. She relied heavily on the diplomatic skills of individuals like Lyra Veen and the strategic insights from Elijah to navigate these turbulent waters. Preparations for the decisive battle. By the end of the chapter, the coalition was preparing for what many believed would be the decisive battle of the war. The location was a strategic system where the Scourge had gathered a significant portion of their forces. The battle plans were complex, involving simultaneous assaults, the strategic use of the biological agents, and a final deployment of the gene-lock weapon. As the fleets assembled and soldiers readied their arms, there was a palpable sense of the impending climax of the conflict. Elijah, standing beside Kira on the bridge of the Aegis of Harmony, looked out at the gathering forces. "This is it," he said quietly. "The moment where we define the future for all." The chapter closes on the eve of this monumental battle, with the stars above playing silent witness to the nervous preparations below. The galaxy, once a vast and mysterious expanse, had become a battlefield where the fate of countless lives would soon be decided. Dawn of the decisive day. The stars dimmed as if to hold their breath, casting a shadow over the battlefield that stretched across the Aka'ara system. The Galactic Coalition forces, a diverse fleet comprised of countless races and ships, assembled in formation. Facing them across the void was the ominous silhouette of the Scourge Armada, more formidable than ever. Admiral Kyra Thel and Captain Elijah Ward surveyed the scene from the command center on the Aegis of Harmony. The tension was palpable, a mix of anticipation and the weight of what was at stake, freedom for the galaxy or its fall to an implacable enemy. The battle commences. As the first light of Aka'ara's suns pierced the darkness, the battle erupted. Coalition ships darted forward, lasers and particle beams slicing through space. The Scourge responded with their own barrage, a terrifying display of coordinated power and advanced technology. Elijah's covert teams executed their missions behind enemy lines, deploying the Crenician biological agents. These agents began to take effect, slowing the regeneration of Scourge ships, making them more vulnerable to Coalition attacks. Turning the tide in the thick of the battle, Dr. Lena Kovich monitored the effects of the refined gene-lock weapon. With a cautious nod from Admiral Thel, she gave the command, and the weapon was unleashed. The Scourge fleet was rocked by waves of energy, their ships faltering under the targeted assault that disrupted their core functions without spreading to unintended targets. As the weapon took effect, a significant portion of the Scourge Armada became disoriented, their usual impeccable coordination crumbling. Seizing the moment, Coalition forces intensified their assault, pushing the Scourge back with renewed vigor. Heroic sacrifices. Amidst the chaos, heroes rose and sacrifices were made. Sergeant Marco Alvarez led a daring boarding party onto a Scourge flagship. The mission was critical, to retrieve data that could lead to a lasting solution to the Scourge threat. The team fought valiantly, securing the data, but at a great cost. Marco and several of his team members fell in battle, their sacrifice marking a turning point in the fight. With the critical data in hand, the Coalition scientists quickly analyzed and transmitted a sequence that caused a chain reaction within the Scourge fleet, effectively neutralizing their ability to regenerate. Victory and aftermath. As the last of the Scourge ships were either disabled or retreated, a stunned silence fell over the battlefield, broken only by the cheers of Coalition crews. The victory was complete, but came at a profound cost. The galaxy had been saved, but many lives had been lost. In the days that followed, memorials were held across countless worlds. Admiral Thel and Captain Elijah Ward led a solemn ceremony aboard the Aegis of Harmony, honoring those who had sacrificed their lives for the Coalition's survival. Building a new future. With the immediate threat of the Scourge neutralized, the Coalition faced the challenge of rebuilding and ensuring such a threat could never rise again. Plans were laid for a new galactic framework, one that would include all races in a unified governance structure, ensuring peace and cooperation. Elijah, now a celebrated hero, chose to continue his work, helping to integrate and stabilize the newly liberated regions. His efforts were focused on fostering understanding and collaboration among the diverse cultures of the galaxy, legacy of the war. As peace settled over the galaxy, the legacy of the conflict began to take shape. The war had changed the political landscape, emphasizing the need for unity and the acceptance of diverse tactics and strategies. The sacrifices made by heroes like Marco Alvarez and many others were remembered not just as necessary for survival, but as foundational for the new era of peace and cooperation that followed. The story closed with Admiral Thel and Elijah looking out into space from the Aegis of Harmony, the stars once again bright against the velvet darkness. "We've been given a second chance," Thel remarked quietly. Let's ensure we honor it. Thus, the galaxy turned a page, embarking on a new chapter filled with hope and the collective determination to forge a future defined not by conflict, but by the strength found in unity.